Namaste. My name is Tim Halloran and I am an astrologer. My website is www.rasa-lila.com, where you can get in contact with me and schedule a birth chart reading. This is a report for the week of July 30th. Today is Tuesday, and I believe on Thursday is the 1st of August. What a month we've had, and what a month is to come. I will try my best to communicate and let things flow as well as I can. It's a very emotional period we're in this week, and I'm feeling a whole lot of stuff, so I'm going to try to move through it and be as sincere and as direct as I can. It is a bit of an emotionally chaotic and bumpy week, and I'm going to be getting into that. First of all, we had this grand sextile yesterday that was very widely talked about throughout the New Age communities. There is a lot of other stuff happening this week as well. It's probably an initiation in what's going to come, but if you'd like to know more about it, I did write up a few pages about that formation, and I will include the link below so you can read up on that if you want. And I'll get into the formations that are happening right now. First of all, we have two nearly perfect grand trines that are somewhat long-term, whereas the grand sextile yesterday was only in effect for several hours and wasn't as exact as these grand trines right now. So these two grand trines, we've got one between Saturn, Lilith, and Neptune, and really Lilith is in conjunction to Pallas right now and Jupiter. Now Lilith is the suppressed feminine and really the feminine wound. And with Jupiter being conjunct to Lilith, we have been learning a lot about what this suppressed and wounded femininity is within ourselves and the world. And with Pallas being conjunct to both of them right now, we are really seeing visually, mentally, the patterns, our own falling back into past patterns, or maybe seeing how we go back and forth all the time, back and forth, in ourselves and in the world at large. And we may be talking about one thing and really be doing another thing. It's really, I think, a time of getting in touch with and coming to terms with our own sincerity. There's another grand trine right now, and this is between the North Node, Mars, and Chiron. Now, this is probably a very powerful and important week for a lot of us. Perhaps we are seeing our own selfish desires and really getting to learn about our own sincerity. We're learning about our own subconscious tendencies, and we're learning about our own inherent, perhaps subconscious selfish tendencies as well. And this can be rough for us. You know, we might be seeing it in other people, we might be seeing it in ourselves. But we're learning about what really needs to be moved beyond, what cannot continue. And in order for something not to continue, it really must be understood. And in order for something to be really understood, it really has to be apparent. It has to be right in front of our face. And sometimes it's like the dog getting his face stuck in his own poop, so he learns not to poop on the couch anymore. Well, sometimes we're like that dog. At least myself personally, I know that I at least have gotten my face stuck in poop a dozen times recently. And it's like I still just continuously have to learn that my own selfishness is not satisfying. My own selfishness is actually painful to me. And it not only hurts me, it hurts everybody else around me as well. But this North Node Mars Chiron trine that we have really solid this week, I think has a lot to do with this. It's about learning about what cannot continue, the limitations of the past, and that selfishness hurts. And really what this is also talking about is the initiation of the divine masculine. We've been talking so much about the divine feminine, but the initiation of the divine masculine is realizing that this Mars energy, this willful, personal, doing what I want to do energy, is hurtful to ourselves if it is not tamed on some level. This Mars energy, especially with the other aspects, it's like we could almost be learning about how deceitful our own subconscious tendencies can be. So for example, I may very easily say, oh yes, I can be in so many relationships with so many women because I have such a big heart, I have such unconditional love that I can't possibly limit my love to just one woman. I gotta be with a few of them. Maybe that's what it seems up here to me, but is that what is actually happening? this could be a little bit of deceitfulness on the part of my own Martian energy, which is this selfish, willful, I want what I want. And that's right for me to want that. And in aspect to Chiron, it's really just like, ow, this hurts. Like, it turns out that I'm not unconditionally loving everybody. I've just been sort of talking myself into that, and it's really apparent right now because I feel really bad about it. Yeah, I could be feeling very guilty. We could be feeling very guilty with some of these aspects. We could be feeling very hard on ourselves, or likewise, we might be being a little hard on other people because there's some shadow work happening right now, and so we're all triggering each other. This Thursday and Friday, Venus, which is in Virgo right now, is going to oppose Chiron, and it's going to form an exact sextile between Mars and the North Node. And again, it's our relationships that are bringing up our issues, that are forcing us into the dark, into our subconscious thought patterns. And emotions are being brought to the surface. And we are triggering our deep-seated wounds and really bringing them to light, which is incredibly powerful and important. With a lot of these Jupiter transits, it is an enlightening time. And with so much of the energy still being in Cancer, we're enlightening our emotions. We're seeing our emotions so much right now and feeling our emotions so much right now because we are really doing a tremendous amount of learning during this time. So even though it seems awfully personal, and it is personal because we all have our neat karmic package, and that's really what this whole deceitfulness, quote unquote, it's not like we're dealing with the devil or anything, really. It's more innocent than that. But we do have this inner deceitfulness, and this comes from this karmic package, which we have formed over a long period of time through our own actions and reactions and creating our own subconscious and emotional tendencies, which are a beneath the surface reflection of the choices and people we've made ourselves into in the past. And we're being called to change, always. Life is always changing. And so this Pluto stuff, this Pluto stuff is really digging deep. It hurts. Pluto and Chiron hurts because it's going deep beneath the skin, really taking the shovel and digging stuff up. And you don't want to see that. Well, too bad. It's there. And you got to dig it up. You got to dig it up. We want to dig it up. We have to release these things. It's a major releasing of feelings. Let that guilt and shame go. Yeah, we might feel guilty and shameful about these karmic packages that each of us does have. We might feel guilty about some of the decisions that we only subconsciously are feeling that we might have made in the past. It's like, uh-oh, I have the feeling that these patterns that I'm still working through might have origins in some mistake that I can't really put my finger on. And a great degree of surrender is really the outcome of all of these transits, because we don't know what we've done to cause some of these quote-unquote negative reactions, but we can assume that they were caused by quote-unquote negative causes. And we all have to remember that as human beings, we are not perfect, and we are far from knowing anything. So there's this position of the fool, which each of us does have. We are foolish on a certain level. We don't know when we're making mistakes all the time. So it's subconscious. So it's not about making ourselves feel guilty and bad, but we do have to recognize that we have that foolish aspect. We do have to recognize that we are being controlled on a certain level by our own subconscious tendencies, and we can call that Maya, we can call that illusion, we can call that the stickiness of the situation which we have found ourselves entrapped in. But the solution and the outcome is always the same. Yeah, we're in a very sticky situation. And it's a period where we might be recognizing the severity of the situation, because it's just like, guess what? We all want to be unconditionally loving people, because when this heart chakra is open, we are at our highest potential state. And we know that and we feel that. And it feels so much more fulfilling than anything. And when our selfish tendencies come up, this gets closed off. And we feel very, very bad. We feel bad. You can't deny that you feel very, very bad. And that's the severity of the situation. You can't escape some of these feelings. Feelings are there, and they're very demanding sometimes, very demanding. But the outcome and the solution is the same. We have to surrender to our situation. We have to surrender to the severity of the situation. We have to surrender to the severity of emotions. And we have to surrender to our disposition of being rocked around by them. I'm not saying we should stop our meditation and we should stop trying to balance ourselves, but the truth is we haven't achieved that perfect state yet. We're moving through it. We are working through it. And the best thing we can do right now is just surrender and say, I know that I am a fool. I know that I have issues. I know that I have wounds, and I know that I don't understand them. And because I don't understand them, I feel that it is unjust. I feel that it is unfair. Why am I put into this position that I feel all these things and I should just be able to do whatever I want and be happy? That's my birthright. And that is our birthright. But we have stuff to move through. And until we get there, we have a long way to go. And I just speak for myself personally, having come in contact with a little bit of my own karmic passage. Oh yeah, I have a long way to go. So I get on my hands and my knees and I say, I surrender to you. I surrender to my situation. Somehow I have gotten myself into this situation and I don't understand how exactly, and the complexity is beyond me, but somehow or other I am here and I am powerless without some form of exterior love and grace. And we're all waiting for this grace to come, but it will not come until we understand that it is needed and we ask for it. That's sort of a part of the mystery of grace, is that we have to be in the position of understanding that grace doesn't come to people who earn it. Grace comes to people who understand that they are nothing without it. And this is really a heart-opening time if you look at it that way. So this grand sextile that happened yesterday very well could have been an initiation into the heart. And I certainly hope it is for everybody who might be watching this. And everybody can understand and appreciate the severity of all the symptoms of life, the good and the bad, and see how this really does awaken us to our real position. And once we are awakened to our real position, we can move into a place of surrender and really open our hearts and understand that because we are imperfect, the best thing we can do is serve those who are like beacons of light to us. And I'm wishing you the best this week and the time to come. Namaste.